Hi everyone, this is Brandon. The project that I worked on was web servers. The web servers that I chose to install were Apache, which is HTTPD. That's what it's known as otherwise. And then the other web server I used was Nginx. That is spelled like so. Installing Apache is really easy. It's in the RHEL repositories, so all we have to do is sudo yum install httpd. And since I already have installed, it should just tell me that there's nothing to update. Yep, nothing to do. Okay. And so that's how you install Apache. How we would go about starting that is we can do system control, and we are going to do enable httpd.service. This will allow every time we turn on our host for the Apache server to start running. Another thing that we need to do for our web server to work is that we need to add a firewall exception. So we're going to do firewall dash cmd dash dash zone dash public dash dash add dash port. And what we're gonna do here is since we're installing two web servers, we can't have the web servers running on the same port. So for Apache, I'm actually going to give it a different port. You can technically use any port that you want as long as it's not interfering with any other port a service on your host is running. So I chose 8090. We're going to do dash TCP and then dash dash permanent. And that's how we would add that permanent firewall exception for that traffic going through. Oops, I guess I typed something wrong. Is it not zone public? I'm not sure exactly what's wrong with that. I added this firewall exception earlier. We're going to move on from there. So after we do successfully add that firewall exception, we're going to have to do firewall dash cmd reload. And the firewall is reloaded, so now our exception's in place. And then to finally start the Apache server, we're going to do system control start httpd.service. While that's starting, we're going to open up Firefox so we can see that our web server has indeed started. We also need to know our private internal IPv4 address so we can navigate to it. We could use localhost, that works as well. But we won't know if the firewall exception has worked unless we navigate it through an IP address. So this machine is that. And what I set up Apache to be is on port 8090, so once you type in your IPv4 address, do :8090, or whatever port you chose. We get there, and boom, here we go. Welcome to Brandon's Apache server. The process is the same about for the Nginx server. The only thing that we had to do was, since Nginx is not in RHEL's default repositories, we had to add it ourselves. We had to edit a file. That file is in etc yum.repos.d/nginx.repo. Now we'll have to create this file and add the text that's in here. Once you do that, and you save this file, you will also just, the steps pretty much align just like they were. With Apache, we do sudo yum install nginx. And it's going to tell me that there's nothing to do again unless there happened to be an update. And there hasn't, so there's nothing to do here. What we're going to do is now we're going to do system control start nginx. And so I left nginx, I left the port that uses to be 80 by default. So we're going to just be able to navigate there by just typing in the full IP address of our machine. And there we go. Welcome to Brandon's Nginx server. So the only problem that I had while doing this project, was I didn't realize I was getting errors from one of these servers if I tried to launch the other one, and that was before I realized that they were both trying to launch themselves while using port 80. If you try to do that, you're going to get an error saying that the service has failed to start, and the solution's really simple. I already knew where the Apache configure file was, so that's why I chose Apache to be the one where I changed the port that it listens on. I could have just as easily changed the Nginx port that it was listening on. I could have also, instead of doing port 8090, I could have done any other type of port number, and it all would have worked the same. Things that I did brush over really quick is, of course, when you install Nginx, you also have to go through doing system control and enabling it upon startup. And you also have to do your firewall, so you do your firewall command to allow port 80 to go through. But other than that, they're exactly the same setup, other than you have to add the Nginx repository. And yeah, so there we go. There you have it. Those are two functional web servers running on the same host, different port numbers, and they're accessible by their private IPs. Thanks for watching.